What's up, everybody? It's JT Sports Match, you guys, with another video. This video, I'm here with my Cleveland Browns 7th round 2020 NFL mock draft. Now, for the Cleveland Browns, this is a Cleveland Browns team last season in 2019 that had a lot of expectations that they didn't really live up to. And a big reason for that was because they were not good up front on both sides of the football. When it comes to interior, on the offensive line for the Cleveland Browns, they really struggled. They didn't really have a lot of consistency at the offensive tackle position. And when it came to the defensive side of football, the defensive line, despite having Myles Garrett, other than him, wasn't really that good in my opinion. They also need to fill some holes that they have in the secondary as well. I think safety is a little bit of a question mark for the Browns. They basically just have a lot of guys at safety. We don't really know who's going to end up being those starters there. And they also need to address the linebacker situation as well because they lost a couple of linebackers in free agency, one of those guys being Joe Schobert. So for the Cleveland Browns, man, I mean, on the offensive side of football, they picked up Jack Conklin in free agency to fill one of the holes that they have at the offensive tackle position, but they still have a couple more holes that they need to fill up, especially at the other offensive tackle position and at the offensive guard position. So that goes into my first round pick, which is offensive tackle Tristan Wirfs out of the University of Iowa. Now, Tristan Wirfs is considered by many people to be the best offensive lineman in this draft class because of his versatility. He can play offensive guard, he can play offensive tackle as well. He also is very good when it comes to facing what you call finesse rusher or speed rushers. Very good facing guys that are very good coming off the edge. And I think he will be better at offensive tackle. I mean, he could play guard, but I mean, for the Cleveland Browns, they need as much help at the offensive tackle position as they can get. And pair him up with Jack Conklin will be a really good fit there. And Tristan Wirfs, man, this guy has really good footwork. He's pretty fast for his size as well. And for the Cleveland Browns, if he's available at this pick, I think it's a no-brainer that you got to go ahead and you got to select him. Now, for their second round selection, I have them selecting linebacker ANFERNEE Jennings out of Alabama. Now, ANFERNEE Jennings had a lot of high expectations going into the 2019 college football season, and he didn't really quite live up to those expectations before the 2019 college football season began. This guy was considered a top 10, top 15 pick, and he ended up dropping all the way down to like a late second round selection or early second day selection. So I mean for him, this guy can play both linebacker and outside linebacker as well. So for the Cleveland Browns, it just depends on which one they feel he fits a better need for, I guess. In my opinion, I like him better as an edge rusher because I think this guy could come in. He can give some competition to Olivier Vernon. Olivier Vernon didn't really have that good of a season last year for the Browns. I think he only had like what 3.5 sacks, which I wasn't really that high on Olivier Vernon, considering that he didn't really have all that impressive numbers when he's playing for the New York Giants. So I think Jennings is a guy who can come in right away and push to be one of those starting edge rushers for the Cleveland Browns and push Olivier Vernon there, come in when it comes to third down situations. That's an added pass rusher there. And also, he's a solid linebacker as well. If they need to play inside linebacker, he can play that as well. But I think he's a lot better as an edge rusher versus being an inside linebacker. With their third round selection, they have two third round picks. I have them selecting a defensive tackle out of Oklahoma, NEVILLE Gallimore. Now, NEVILLE Gallimore, in my opinion, is one of the biggest sleepers in this draft class. Now, the biggest not that a lot of people are saying about NEVILLE Gallimore is that he's not a three down defensive tackle for some reason. Now, in my opinion, I think this guy is pretty good enough that he can play all three downs, but for some reason, a lot of people in the NFL draft community feel like his pass rushing skills aren't really up to par like they should be going into the NFL. So they do feel he needs a lot of development there. Even though I think he's pretty solid as a pass rusher, but amongst the draft community, that's just the word on him. But I mean, he is a really good run stopper. He's very good at getting off blocks, clocking off running lanes as well. But a lot of people feel at the NFL level for the first couple of years until he develops as a okay pass rusher for NFL standards that he'll probably will only be good for first and second downs, and you'll probably have to take him off the field on third downs. But for the Cleveland Browns could you I think he'll be a pretty good fit for the Browns because I think he fits what the Browns like out of defensive tackles up front or defensive linemen in general. They like fast, athletic guys. That's what NEVILLE Gallimore is, in my opinion. He's a guy who is really good at stopping the run. And I think this guy has a lot of potential to be kind of what Devon Hargrave was when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I think this is a guy who's going to end up getting a lot of tackles behind the line of scrimmage, a lot of chaos plays, people call him, and things like that. So I think Neville Gallimore would be a good fit for the Browns. With their second, third round selection, 97th overall, I have them selecting the safety ASHTYN Davis out of the University of Cal. Now, ASHTYN Davis reminds me a lot of Jesse Bates. For those of you guys who don't remember, Jesse Bates, when he was coming out of the NFL draft a couple of years ago, out of Wake Forest, a lot of people said that he was really inconsistent in his play when he played for Wake Forest, and that he also could need to add a little bit more weight to his frame. And that's kind of who ASHTYN Davis really plays like, in my opinion. Now, ASHTYN Davis, to me, I really like what I saw of him. I mean, this guy is 6'1", 201 pounds, so maybe he could use a little bit more added weight, maybe. But I think he has a pretty solid frame. This guy is really solid in coverage. He's also a very good tackler as well. Now, of course, he gave up a little bit of couple plays over the top, but for the most part of his career when he played for the University of Cal, was pretty solid in my opinion. So I mean, I would love for the Cleveland Browns to draft ASHTYN Davis and bring him some more competition for those safety positions, because their safety position, basically, we don't know who's going to be the starter. They just basically at this point have a lot of guys filling up the safety room. So I mean, I think ASHTYN Davis is a guy who can come out right away and end up starting for the Browns. I think this is a guy who has late first round, second round caliber talent, and I think the Browns could use another safety, because I think they brought in who Carl Joseph in free agency. They also had Cedric RAEQUAN, who they drafted in last year's draft. So I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see how the safety position turns out for the Browns going into the 2020 NFL season. But I think they should look to take another safety, and I think ASHTYN Davis out of Cal will be a pretty good pickup. With the fourth round selection, I have them selecting a wide receiver out of Boise State, John Hightower. Now, John Hightower is one of the fastest wide receivers in this draft class. This guy is a blazer. This guy is a burner. He'll be a really good deep threat for the Cleveland Browns. Now, the reason why I think he'll be a good fit for Cleveland is because they have not brought back Rashard Higgins and free agency. Now, he's still a free agent. They could bring him back. I thought they were going to bring him back, but I mean, at this point, they don't bring him back. I really think they're going to end up letting him sign somewhere elsewhere. So I think they probably would like to replace him with another wide receiver. And I think John Hightower will be a really good fit, because with the new head coach Kevin Stefanski, the Cleveland Browns are going to be running a lot of two tight end sets, and that means it's not really going to be a lot of three wide receiver sets and things like that. But when they do go three wide, four wide, you can bring in John Hightower and let him play one of those receiver positions. Now, me personally, I like him better as a slot receiver, because he's pretty skinny when it comes to his frame, so he needs to add a little bit more weight there. But I mean, if he adds a little bit more weight, like 10, 15 pounds, I think he could play outside receiver, but I really think he has a lot of potential to be a really good slot receiver because of how fast he is, and his athleticism as well, and his speed downfield. I think that could be a lot of problems for slot corners. So I mean, I really like John Hightower. I think he has a lot of potential as a slot receiver. I think the Browns should look into drafting him for the fact that they lost Rashard Higgins. Now, with their sixth round selection, I have them selecting defensive lineman RAEQUAN Williams out of Michigan State University. Now, this is what I call a monster truck. If it was, this dude is basically the human version of a monster truck. He's big. He takes up a lot of space. He's what we call a deep fridge protector. This is a guy who's going to protect or clog up those running lanes. You're not. Listen, if you run into this guy, you're basically running into a freight, because if this guy gets his hands on you, trust me, you're going down. So, I mean, I think this is a guy who the Browns can bring in some more size, bring in some much needed depth when it comes to that defensive line position in the interior. Because I thought the Browns, for the most part, I think a big reason why their defense wasn't as good as I expected it to be, even though it was pretty okay, I just think they need to add a little bit more up front. Now, they are really solid when it comes to stopping the run, but I think if they added a couple of more guys, couple of depth guys, I think this defense could be really good. And I think RAEQUAN Williams has potential to end up being kind of what Snacks Harrison was. Snacks Harrison is like an elite run stopper, and he reminds me a lot of film when you watch him on film. Now, when it comes to the last selection, I have them select the linebacker out of Temple, Chappelle Russell. Now, Chappelle Russell is really interesting. This is a guy who a lot of people aren't really talking about, but this guy is a really freak athletic linebacker. I mean, this guy is exceptional in coverage, and for the Cleveland Browns, they lost a couple of linebackers in free agency, so I think that Chappelle Russell is a guy who can come in. If he's able to make the roster, he could potentially end up being a really good player on special teams, or he can end up being an okay starter at the linebacker position for the Cleveland Browns. So I think he would be a really good fit for the Cleveland Browns at the linebacker position. I mean, the Cleveland Browns have found a lot of success in drafting linebackers late in the NFL draft. Last year, they drafted the linebacker out of Alabama, and he ended up becoming a really good starter for them. So I think Chappelle Russell could end up having that kind of story in the NFL. So let me know what you guys think about this 7th-round mock draft for the Cleveland Browns down in the comment section down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content, and thanks for watching.